Hello, people, and Solana has been having some problems. Drop TX problems as much as 75%. Now, that might not be as bad as it sounds, because despite that, it still works better than Ethereum, even if it was that bad. But there's more caveats to it because all the drop TXs might be arbitrage bots. And I really don't care much about arbitrage bots. If it is arbitrage bots causing a serious problem, Solana could just raise the per transaction fee up to 10 cents, and then I'll get rid of like 99% of them, because then it won't be profitable for the bots to keep arbitraging. Of course, then they couldn't brag about how much TPS they have. But that really shouldn't be a thing. And as long as your users are happy, that should be fine. But why is this causing such a problem? It's because of the meme coins. We all know that meme coins have blown up on Solana. It's costing tens of thousands of TPS. And sometimes Solana has a lot of trouble handling that. In fact, as graphs show here, it's roughly 75% dropped TXs. And some people are complaining. As much as I think that Sol is the chain for retail this cycle, this experience is lacking brutally lately. This experience was fine until you hit tens of thousands of TXs, and Solana cannot really handle that, obviously. It was fine up to about 10,000 TPS, and that's like non-garbage transaction TPS. Or it could be bot spam. So this is usually not a big problem for users because your wallet will simulate the transaction and let you know that it will not work beforehand anyways. That the failed transaction chart was not a good way of assessing user impact, as most users don't make it there to begin with. About 95% of that entire chart is just bots failing arbitrage attempts, because even if the transaction may not go through, the bots will try to push it through. Much of the activity occurs before the scheduling process. Increasing transaction priority fees won't help. So basically, like, making your transaction more expensive will not help and will just make money. Unlike Ethereum or other blockchains, where if you make it more expensive, you get priority. So TRDL of what's happening: the network stack QUIC is on Solana is implemented poorly and does not handle spam well. If everyone spams, a lot of the connections get dropped since a block leader can only handle so many connections at once. Bot spam better than humans, so users get the worst end of the stick and get dropped the most. To win, you must spam more than the others. Not a great way. More accurately, nodes bots that spam more aggressively will have a higher chance of success with close to no penalty. So the thing is, like, I've actually been swapping on Phantom some, and I've never really had an issue. In fact, I did a swap on stream today and it went through fine. It did take a little longer than usual, but it did go through. There were no problems. So I can't say that me personally on my transactions in Solana, I've experienced that much of a slowdown. However, that doesn't mean that people are not pissed off because their bot spam isn't going through, because a lot of people do depend on like these trading arbitrage bots to make money. And if their bot transactions are failing, they're not making that money. I do think Solana should guard against this bot spam. I do think they should just make transaction fees like 5 cents or 10 cents to kill the bot spam, because then real transactions, not bot spam transactions, can go through. And obviously people are trying to micro arbitrage on these meme coins because the meme coins have a ton of volatility. And since the meme coins have a ton of volatility, it makes sense to try to make a lot of money based on that large volatility, especially the smaller meme coins, because they can go up 20, 30, 40% in a couple of seconds. So that's what's causing Solana to crash. But I do tend to believe it is mainly bot arbitrage, because I really haven't had too much trouble using Phantom Wallet to swap. I've heard some people are having trouble when they're just using Radium, but since I actually use Phantom and Jupiter, I've not actually had any problems, and it is pretty smooth. So let me know how your interactions with Solana is in the last couple of days. Mine have been fine, but then again, I also don't make a lot of transactions on Solana, on a daily or even weekly basis. I just make a transaction every once in a while, and those transactions have actually gone through just fine. So I'm inclined to believe it is bot spam, because I did actually do a one with a meme coin and swap it with Solana on stream today, and it went through in a couple of seconds. Wasn't anything major that I saw. So yeah. The other thing is, I want to talk about why Bitcoin went down today. It was going up after the jobs reports, because the jobs reports were good. People still have jobs, which means they still have money, which means they can still buy crypto. But here's the problem. because they still have money and they're still buying stuff and demand is higher than ever, the economy is not going down. Now, you might be thinking, why is that a bad thing? The economy is not going down. Well, that's because people pay attention to Fed interest rate cuts. And soon after, the Fed, because they want to destroy everyone and cause much, much pain, came on and basically said there might not be any interest rate cuts this year. And that made the stock market spiral down 500 points. The Fed was like, things are going too good right now. The stock market's at an all-time high. Consumer demand is too high. People have too much money. They're buying too much stuff. So let's give them something to think about. Pain. And they gave us pain. Now, we did recover a little bit afterwards, but now we're heading down a little bit again. So it hasn't affected crypto all that much as it affected the stock market. But still, overall, it's definitely not a good thing. And I think we're going into the weekend somewhat bearish. Obviously, the main factor of crypto is going to be ETF buying or selling. There obviously is some profit taking at this point by people that have made a lot of money buying Bitcoin, because despite Bitcoin going down the last 2 weeks, being at 66, 67,000, the vast majority of people that have actually bought crypto are in the black. We're only a couple thousand away from our all-time high, and there were a lot of people that bought during the bear market, and we're almost at our all-time high. Obviously, crypto's volatility is amplified because of the secondary market, shorts, longs, liquidations and stuff like that. But I have a feeling sooner or later that BlackRock, Fidelity, and the ETFs are going to buy back up. But these announcements by the Fed do make crypto go up and down a lot. And it was pretty obvious that we were going up after the jobs report until the Fed came in this afternoon and said, you know what, we're going to pwn the markets by saying that we might not do interest rate cuts, because people are dying for those interest rate cuts, because that affects everything, because that tightens the money supply. If you tighten the money supply, it costs more interest for people to borrow money. And if people don't want to borrow as much, well, they're not borrowing money to buy crypto. They're not borrowing money to buy ETFs. And they're definitely not borrowing money to Degen into more meme coins. So we need those Degen people to borrow money, or we need that money to be available. Also, if you cut interest rates, it makes bonds less attractive against things like cryptos and stocks. Because bonds will have lower yield, people are looking for higher yield investments, so they're going for cryptos and stocks instead. So we do need them to loosen that money supply for us to make more money in cryptocurrency. So that's why crypto went down again. And of course, certain cryptos like BCH, because of their halving and because of other things, didn't go down but went up. But overall, the market is down because of what Jerome Powell and the Fed did. Now, do I think they're actually going to change their long-term plan? No. I don't think they're going to actually change their long-term plan. They're going to go with a plan. I still think there's going to be 3 rate cuts this year, and I think they'll bring it back around, essentially. But right now, the numbers for the economy look a little too good for them to actually cut rates. They don't want to get inflation to be more than it is right now. So they're doing everything to pour a cold bucket of water on everyone's heads and saying, hey guys, stop it. Stop buying so much stuff. You don't think you have as much money as you actually have right now. So just stop buying stuff, get that demand down, get those job numbers down, make more people poor, and we'll lower those interest rates. Because if there was a falling out of the economy, make no mistake, the Fed would lower those rates right away. But because the economy is strong right now, because people are still buying more stuff than ever, whether on credit or with their money, prices are still going up, and the Fed's primary objective is to bring those prices down, or at least get inflation with the historical average, not so much keep it up where it is right now. We're still at over 3% per year right now, which is still above their 2% target, and they're dead set on that 2%. And they're going to do whatever it takes to get that 2%. So I expect the Fed pouring buckets of cold water on people's heads again throughout the year. So don't get too happy anytime there's a Fed meeting coming up and crypto is soaring or the stock market's soaring, because the Fed wants to hammer you back down. Now, this effect will only last a couple of days. By next week, this will be gone. But guess what? Next week, we have the CPI numbers, and Jerome Powell might give people another scare. So don't get too happy when Jerome Powell is involved, unless he's actually going to lower the interest rates. He's probably going to keep them pretty high. as long as the economy is chugging along very well and he sees a risk of inflation going back up. So that's the news for today. Let me know what you think. Like and subscribe, hit that bell notifications button. Thank you and have a nice day.